So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? If anybody knows me, I'm a very adventurous guy, and I want to share my adventures with you. That's why we call it the Grape Explorer, because we're sharing our thoughts and our journey together. And I wanted to share a very interesting wine today. This is from Georgia, which if you followed one of my other videos, we were talking about a red wine from Georgia. This is actually a white wine from Georgia. And the grape is called Semillon region, and it's Kakheti. If you want to look in the map here, this is a map of Georgia, and this is an interesting white wine because the two grapes that are involved here, it's 85% Kakheti, and then it's 15% Zivani. And so when I taste wines, and I want to share a little bit of a journey with everybody. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Artie Dozortsev and his dad, Eugene, who are bringing in Georgian wines. And I actually bought this wine in, Brighton Beach from Victoria at Best Buy, who wanted me to also, share the story a little bit about the wines of Georgia, because these are really, really interesting wines. We talk about the history, and if you followed some of my other videos, we talked about Georgia, and they have the right now to call themselves the oldest wine region in the world. So we're talking 8,000 years. I know I said 6,000. We're looking at, approximately now how they can actually research these things, because what they do is they excavate in the ground and they can actually find wine vessels or wine clay amphoras, and they can actually find the residue that's inside of these amphora, and they can do a DNA to find out exactly how old the residue is that's in those vessels. And when they do these excavations, especially in Georgia, and they've been doing a lot of them lately, to try to find out this history, this little bit of history as to who is making these wines. 8,000 years ago, we're talking, 2,000 years. Christianity was started 2,000 years ago. So we're talking 8,000 years ago, people are actually making these wines. And we found this to be really interesting. But when I tasted this wine, what I always do, and I want people to kind of understand who I am a little bit more, I actually try to identify a wine, and from especially an area like this, and I say, what does it taste like? Which I can actually put a comparative kind of tasting to. And you're going to laugh at this, but of course I love white Bordeaux. This tastes like a white Bordeaux to me, and it actually tastes like Semillon, which is interesting. So I don't know the DNA of these grapes, which, if you look at these grapes, they're very conducive to Georgia. You don't find these grapes growing in too many regions of the world because they don't do well when they leave another country. So when you look at Georgia and how they've actually evolved into a country, it was all Soviet Union at one time, and of course then they got their independence, and you saw a lot of foreign investment. Now you're seeing some interesting wineries that are popping up in Georgia, and good for these people. They're really working hard to try to create Georgia and take that history and bring it to the forefront of today. We talk about the past, the present, and the future, and today I think that the Georgian wine industry is on the march. They are making great wines. You got to pay attention. These wines are not expensive. I got this wine for, close to $12 a bottle. But this is the closest thing, like I said, I would taste to a French wine. I would put the comparisons more towards a Semillon, like that dry kind of spicy kind of style. I wouldn't say Sauvignon. I would say more like Semillon, because when you taste this wine, it tastes like a Bordeaux to me, but it's long in the mouth, and it has that like extended kind of flavor. So I would definitely, if you like Sauvignon Blanc, or if you like wines from Loire Valley, or if you like wines from the Bordeaux region, you're going to love these wines, and you should give them a try, because again, this is why we are here. We're here to experience, and if you're not familiar with wine, or if you're not familiar with all the different grapes, it's hard to pronounce these grapes, but just try the wines, give it a try, and I bet you'll come back and say, these are really, really terrific wines. Again, this is a Grape Explorer. We're always trying to bring beautiful, beautiful wines to the table. Cheers.